Kia ora guys, how are you? So I thought I would take an opportunity to share something that I've been sent from a listener and a viewer, and it happens so very rarely that I thought I would just do a little bit of a video, but I was really flattered and really honored to get this email. So yeah, and I'm going to read the email and then maybe have a bit of a comment on it. I'm going to try not to go on too much. So it says, Dear Sensei, I really enjoyed your YouTube channel and only recently started listening to your podcast, which is the perfect length for my drive to work. Thank you. I am 38 years old and initially started in Shotokan when I was 17 and then switched over to an Okinawan style of karate and later Kobudo when I was about 23. Have really enjoyed it, having been lucky enough to actually train in Okinawa on 2 occasions, which was awesome. I received injuries from a motorbike accident when I was 32. It took over a year of rehab to get back into the dojo, which felt like a real win. At the moment, I am sandan, so if you're not familiar with the term, a third dan in our style, and feel lucky to have achieved what I suppose is quite a junior grade to some, but a real accomplishment for me personally. I think it's an awesome accomplishment. Lately, I've been getting pressure to go for my yondan, 4th dan, which is flattering, but I'm honestly not really keen on the idea, but feel very much pushed towards the idea because my sensei wants me to step into more of a teaching role. In her own words, who would you rather train with, a 3rd dan or a 4th dan? Interesting. Our gradings are very much hyper endurance affairs that I would love if I was a fit young 18 to 20 year old, but not such an exciting prospect to a 38 year old who has had hip, shoulder and back surgery. My knee down grading, my 2nd dan grading had me fighting a number of young, hungry tournament fighters that seemed to relish taking me apart. Ouch. I came away with a severe neck injury and a torn ligament in my good knee. Sensei has made it known that she is wanting to back away from teaching duties and is looking at me to be the second in charge and that I have to do the grading. I wonder if she's actually said that. Am I weak or just over fussy? Do I owe it to my sensei? I'd be interested in your thoughts. Thanks a lot, B. Okay, well, let's have a quick look at this. One, thanks so much for sending it in. So you're 38 years old, which is not old. I'm getting on there. I'm almost 50 myself, so I feel you on the injuries thing. I think it's fantastic that you switch an Okinawan style and obviously have worked really hard in that. And you had the motorbike accident when you were 32. And it took a year of rehab to get back into the dojo. It says a lot about you as a person that you would go through such an injury. A lot of times what you'll see people who are at all different levels, even senior black belt level. And I do consider sandan to be a good committed level of training, personally. And then to get back into the dojo and then, to continue training, that is a massive thing. Obviously you've got a lot of tenacity and you really enjoy it, and I'm sure your sensei is really cool. Lately I've been getting pressure to go for my yondan. Okay, when it comes to pressure around gradings, I think you've got to consider a couple of things. One would be, what is it that you actually want to do? What does actually make sense? I mean, I don't know what it's like at your dojo, but for me, there is much more important things happening in my life than karate. And while karate and martial arts in general are a passion, I've also got to think about, well, I've got to go out and I've got to make a living and try and, look after kids and be a good partner and, jobs and mortgages and car payments and all that sort of stuff, will me undergoing this grading affect that? But also it's quite possible to use those sort of things as excuses, but I think they are valid. Perhaps they're not excuses, perhaps they are reasons to think seriously about it. I mean, you've had your grading, our gradings are very much hyper endurance affairs that I would love if I was a fit young 18 to 20 year old. Yeah. yeah, I feel you on that one. I mean, it is sometimes some of these gradings and the way that they've been pitched, very much kind of this cookie cutter kind of a thing, which I've talked about before. And there's sort of an expectation, or there's not a consideration given to your physical condition, your age. Right, let's all start with spinning hook kicks, 1,000 push-ups, and then we'll get into the actual grading. For me, I'm a big fan of promotion as opposed to grading. I think that when people talk about grading, I do believe that, you know, they always say, oh, you know, your grading started the first day you came into the dojo. Well, if that's the case, then I think that's something to consider. I mean, in an ideal world, that's how it would be done. I think at sandan, you've worked hard, you've shown your commitment, and you've obviously put a lot of time, effort, and money. It doesn't say whether you have family, but I bet you do. You know, here you also go on to say, but it's not an exciting prospect to a 38-year-old who has had hip, shoulder and back surgery. My knee-down grading had me fighting a number of young, hungry tournament fighters that seemed to relish taking me apart. Yeah, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Because to be honest, we're doing all this stuff voluntarily. And whilst we do owe a debt of gratitude and a level of loyalty to our instructors, if they're forcing us to do things which go counterintuitive to the common sense, probably not a good idea. Also, you talked about Sensei has made it known that she's wanting to back away from teaching duties and is looking at me to be second in charge, and that I have to do the grading. To be honest with you, B, I don't think it's a good reason to do the grading. You're not there to fulfill the wishes of your sensei. I mean, in as so much as maybe your sensei maybe she's got a number of classes, maybe there's a whole bunch of things going on, maybe there's family stresses or work stresses, or maybe she's just getting to a point where she'd like to retire from training. All of those things are perfectly reasonable, valid things, but that's not on you, that's on her. So it sounds like your sensei needs to make some decisions about what's happening for her, and you need to make some decisions about what's happening for you. And you can do that in a respectful way. Perhaps not, timing is everything. Perhaps, you know, just ask to speak to your sensei privately, grab a coffee with them, or go in at a time before class and just sort of ask to, you know, have a conversation. This face-to-face stuff is usually pretty good. Yeah, I'm not too keen on the whole idea of you being made to do a grading. I think that that's kind of like, yeah, that gets into an icky sort of cultish sort of mentality, which I'm firmly against, to be totally honest. But like, as to saying, am I being weak or just over fussy? Do I owe it to my sensei? Are you weak? No, I don't think you're weak. Are you being fussy? No, I think if you apply common sense and look at your health and your well-being and all those things that can be affected by you gaining injuries and so on and so forth, which is a high likelihood from what you've written, do I owe it to my sensei? There's a lot of things we owe our sensei, but there's also a good sensei won't ask you to pay more than you're capable of. That's the point of being a sensei, is you being able to me anyway, you're being able to identify your students and what they're capable of, and yeah, maybe push them that little bit further. But my students are not responsible for what's going on in my life, and that's the whole point of martial arts, is that you keep your life, you know, and hopefully martial arts will make it better. So no, I don't think you owe it to your sensei, but I think that you do owe your sensei a conversation, and perhaps she owes you a conversation too, and that can be a really cool thing, and hopefully you'll grow from that. So B, wherever you live and wherever you're from, thank you so much for trusting me with this. I hope you don't mind me making it into a little bit of a video. I didn't use your name, but you only sent me an initial, and I don't know I don't know where in the world you live, so I hope that was helpful. And yeah, good training, and continue to do your thing. And to be totally honest, if your sensei can't understand that, then maybe it's time to consider your options as well. But that's just my thoughts, and I hope everything goes well, and holla, let me know.